response to Bragg.
George Soros-funded Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg continues to attempt to undermine an active congressional investigation and ongoing oversight of his expenditure of federal funds to unlawfully interfere in a presidential election with an unprecedented indictment of a former president who is currently a presidential candidate. Repeated efforts to weaken democracy and obstruct a congressional investigation are an abuse of power and will not deter the United States House Committee on the Judiciary from its duty to uphold the law. Elected Democrat politician Alvin Bragg would better serve his constituents in the country and fulfill his oath of office by doing his job in the Manhattan DA's office and not intruding on Congress's legislative power over states that use federal funds to deny due process and equal protection of law to American citizens and interfere in an ongoing presidential election. In other words, Jim Jordan should tell Alvin Bragg to take his tweet and shove it. Alvin Bragg needs to respond to Alvin Bragg's team, and people who work for Alvin Bragg need to respond to a congressional subpoena. Congress has near plenary power to subpoena, especially when you're dealing with civil rights, especially when you're dealing with federal funds.
President Donald Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree Tuesday in a case that has many legal experts scratching their heads. The 45th president maintains his complete innocence. Davis explains the subpoena is a necessary step for the House to take after the unprecedented indictment and arraignment of President Trump.
Well, because what is happening against President Trump right now is Democrat-driven lawfare. It's on three fronts. Number one is Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, this George Soros-funded Democrat, is bringing these bogus charges against President Trump, trumped-up charges that were previously declined by the Manhattan DA's office at Bragg's urging when he worked for the New York Attorney General, declined by the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, declined by the Federal Election Commission, and declined by Bragg himself before he took heat from the left. And then in December, he brought in a top Biden Justice Department political appointee, Matthew Colangelo, a longtime Democrat activist, 7 years at the NAACP, Obama Justice Department under Eric Holder, working for Tom Perez, worked for Tom Perez when he was the labor secretary before Perez went to be the DNC chairman. Then Colangelo worked for the Obama White House. He went to the New York Attorney General's office for a Democrat, did lawfare against Trump for several years, Trump administration, Trump businesses, Trump finance, Trump Foundation. And then he was recruited to work in the Biden Justice Department. He was a very senior official, the acting Associate Attorney General of the United States, the number 3, huge portfolio, including the Civil Rights Division, Tax Division, Civil Division. He got recruited by Alvin Bragg. This Colangelo got recruited by Alvin Bragg to go resuscitate this zombie case against Trump and bring these bogus charges. So that's the first front. The second front is, the Fulton County Democrat DA Fannie Willis in Georgia looking at the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election. If it's a crime to object, Democrats would be in jail for 1969, 2001, 2005, 2017. It's protected by the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and the First Amendment. The third front is Garland's special counsel Jack Smith is looking at the non-crime of a former president having presidential records in the office of former president. And that is permitted by the Presidential Records Act. They're going after Trump for the non-crime of having his presidential records while Garland ignored and covered up for months the fact that Biden had stolen classified records from the Obama White House in several different locations. And there's evidence in the form of Miranda Devine's reporting at the New York Post in a 23-paragraph email that Hunter Biden used this classified information to secure illegal funding from Ukrainian and Chinese oligarchs. This House oversight investigation by Jim Jordan is incredibly important, and he needs to go forward. This is an important first step because you're getting one of the bad actors.
Davis says these attacks